Hi, my name is Alex Hernandez. I'm an iron worker by trade. I spent 16 years working in the field as an iron worker. Today I'm a health and safety consultant for IHSA. Today we'll be talking about how to inspect and don a harness. Before I put on my harness, first thing I like to do is I want to check the tag. I want to make sure that it's CSA approved. So I found the tag here. I'm looking right here. It's telling me right here that it is CSA approved, and it's telling me that it's a Class A harness. Now I know I can use this harness. Next thing I like to do right away is I like to inspect the deployment indicators. I see one in each side here. I know it hasn't been deployed. I know I can use this harness now. Now I will start my inspection. First thing I like to do right away is I go and I inspect my D-ring. I'm looking for sharp edges, chemical damage, discoloration, rust, anything unusual that shouldn't be there. I want to make sure that D-ring's nice and straight. Once I inspected that, I move right away to my keeper pad or crossover pad. And I'm looking for cracks, chemical damage, discoloration, distortion, anything unusual that shouldn't be there. I will inspect both sides. And I'm looking for the same things. Looks good. Once I inspected that, I will do a visual and a physical inspection throughout my whole harness. And again, I'm looking for burns, cuts, chemical damage, discoloration, distortion, anything unusual that shouldn't be there. I'm inspecting the buckles, make sure that they look good. The pins look great, and I will inspect the other side for the same things. Looks good. I will inspect the other side. And again, I'm looking for burns, cuts, chemical damage, discoloration. I'm checking the buckles, checking the stitching, the webbing, make sure everything looks great. I'll inspect the other side. And of course, don't forget to inspect your leg straps. They look great. The grommets look good. They're not oval shaped. Perfect. I'm happy with my inspection. Now I'm ready to put it on. I always like to put that D-ring towards me, and I put it on as if I was putting on a jacket. After that, I want to make sure I have nothing twisted on my harness, and I will adjust my leg straps. Something that I like about this harness that it's color coded. I know that the red has to go to the outside and the black has to go inside. This tells me that if I would have something twisted, the black would be to the outside. Of course, make sure that you have the same amount of grommets in each side. Now I will check my chest strap. I want to make sure it's basically right above my nipple line. A good way to tell it's in a good position is this way, right here. I do this, or two hands flat under armpit, and the strap should be right under your hands. I have now put on my harness. I'm ready to go to work. And of course, don't forget that your D-ring at the back, it should be in between your shoulder blades. You want to squeeze your shoulder blades, and you should be able to feel it back there. All right, so now I will inspect my lifeline and my Y lanyard so I can maintain 100% tie-off, and of course I will inspect my rope grab. First I like to do is I will start by inspecting my lifeline. I do want to make sure that it's CSA approved. I do see the logo here. It is telling me that it is CSA approved, and I also see that it's a rope size 16 millimeters diameter. I see that right here. Now I will inspect my lifeline. First thing I will do is I want to make sure the locking mechanism works great. It's spring loaded, so I just turn it, springs back into action, so I know the locking mechanism is working great. There's no sharp edges, no chemical damage, no discoloration. Looks nice and straight. It looks good. Now I will inspect my lifeline. I'm looking for burns, cuts, chemical damage, discoloration. Every so often I want to open it up, and the reason why I open it up is because I'm looking for unusual things. I'm looking for anything that shouldn't be inside my lifeline, and I'm going to keep doing the same thing throughout the whole lifeline. Again, there's no burns, no cuts, no chemical damage, no discoloration. Opening it up so often. And my lifeline looks good. I'm ready with my inspection. Now that I've done that, I will just set it over here off to the side for now. Next thing I'll do is I'll select my Y lanyard. And I use a Y lanyard anytime that I want to transition to another anchor point to make sure that I maintain 100% tie-off. Right away, I go straight to the tag and I see the CSA logo right here. I want to make sure it's CSA approved. Next thing, I want to make sure that this lanyard hasn't been deployed. And I know that it hasn't been deployed by looking at the deployment indicators over here. I noticed that there's 2 flags here. If this was deployed, those tags would be sticking right out. So this white lanyard looks good. Now I will inspect my snap hook. Locking mechanism works great. There's no sharp edges, no chemical damage, no discoloration. The swivel hook works great, moves freely. Now I'm looking for burns, cuts, chemical damage, discoloration. I open it up every so often again to make sure there's nothing unusual inside. There's no rips, no tears, no burns. Looks really good. I'm checking the stitching here. Looks really good. I'm checking my snap hooks to make sure the locking mechanism works great. No sharp edges. Everything looks nice and straight, nothing's bent. Now I will put it on my D-ring at the back. Make sure it's on there really good, it's clipped. Now I will put one in each side. Next thing, I will inspect my rope grab. So right away, I like to go to the rope grab, and I notice that it's CSA approved. I see it right there. Next thing, I want to make sure it's compatible with my lifeline. So what I'll do now is I'll turn it around, and I see on this side right here, it's telling me, it says for rope sides 5/8 or 16 mil diameters. Now I know it's compatible with my lifeline. Right away, I flip it. I always like to put the arrow up pointing towards the sky. So this way, this type right here has a little washer over here. I want to make sure that little washer lines up with the little channel that you see over here. I put the safety latch up. Now I will open it. I will unscrew it now. Moves freely, looks great. Now I will inspect it. So I'm looking for sharp edges, chemical damage, rust, discoloration. I want to make sure the gears on it still look great, right? Spring loaded, moves freely, looks really good. There's no visual damage, looks really good. It's telling me right here, it says engage on rope with arrow pointing up. Pointing up means the arrow goes towards the anchor all the time. That's vertically and horizontally. That's something that you want to make sure all the time. I'm happy with my inspection now. Now I will take my equipment and I will put it onto my anchor point. I have selected my anchor point now. It's right here. I have selected a CSA strap. Next, I will connect my lifeline onto my anchor point, onto my strap here. Looks good. I have inspected my lifeline. And now what I like to do is I like to throw it towards the unprotected edge where I'm going to be doing my work. I threw it. Now I will connect my rope grab. First thing you want to do, you want to make sure that the arrow is pointing towards the anchor at all times. So with this type right here, again, there's got that little washer here. I want to make sure that little washer is lining up with that little channel back here. I put it in, I close it, moves freely. I screw it all the way in. Last thing, do not forget to put your safety latch back down. I want to make sure it's facing the right direction. So I take a look here and I notice that the arrow is pointing towards the anchor. Now I will test it to make sure that it's working. It's working. It's facing the right direction. It's grabbing the rope. Now I will connect onto my rope grab in my lifeline. Something that I like to do is I like to put my hook towards the back, so the opposite way that I'm traveling. So I put it there. I do an undergrip. I'm not pushing any bands or anything. I'm just holding it. Now I will start walking towards the unprotected edge. I'll stop right here. I want to make sure I maintain a safe distance from the edge. Right now I'm planning to be 1 foot away from the edge. Perfect. This is the edge right here. I'm happy with my distance over here. A reason that I like to do is I always like to find my distance down here in travel restraint. And the reason why I like to do that is because I find that if you find your distance up here, anything happens, you slip, anything goes, when you get down here, your lifeline will be a lot longer. So I always like to find my distance up here. Once I find my distance, I get up, it pulls me back. It's restraining me from getting over the edge. So once I find that distance, I will come back now, and I will put a knot at what we call at the dead end. The dead end is after the rope grab. So from this point to the end of the lifeline, it's called the dead end. From the same point to the anchor point is called the live end. You never want to put a knot here on the live end. If you put a knot here, it will reduce the strength of the lifeline as much as 40 to 50%. You don't want to do that. So I will put my knot here at the dead end of the lifeline. And when I put my knot here as close as possible, and I don't put it on very tight because you're not really supposed to put any knots on a lifeline. So I leave it loose in case that rope grab were to fail anyways. It's just gonna travel and it's gonna squeeze it tight. So I'm happy with that now. Now I have set up my travel restraint. Now I can be over here and do my work. If I wanted to transition to another anchor point now, I will grab my other lanyard. I'll hook it on over here to my anchor point for travel restraint, and right away I will come back and disengage. I'm happy with my distance here. Now I'm in travel restraint. My anchor point supports 450 pounds with a safety factor of 2 to make it 900. I'm done my work now. Now I'm going back. Again, make sure that you maintain 100% tie-off at all times. Engage, and then you want to come back here and disengage right away. I'm going back now. I'm done my work. I'm away from the hazard now. Now I can disengage. I will take it all apart. I will inspect my equipment all over again to make sure that nothing got damaged throughout the day.